Good morning, friends. This is Patty at the Samuels Public Library with Mouse, and we are here to bring you story time. And our theme today for story time is cookies. I have a couple of books about cookies. So, mice are especially fond of cookies, aren't you? Oh, yes. And I was wondering if you have a favorite cookie. Do you like chocolate chip, or I kind of like oatmeal raisin, but chocolate chip is pretty special too, especially warm right out of the oven. And then there's peanut butter cookies. Those are yummy too. So there have been some recipes handed down through the ages, and I've got a few recipes. Like I've got one that's for molasses cookies, 150 years old. Can you believe that? That's a long, long time ago. So my first story is actually about a special dessert from long ago called a fine dessert. So Mouse is going to sit this out and listen right here to a fine dessert. 4 centuries. That's 400 years. A long time. 4 families, one delicious treat by Emily Jenkins. A fine dessert. From 1710, 1810, 1910, 2010. A bit more than 300 years ago, in an English town called Lyme, a girl and her mother picked wild blackberries. Their hands turned purple with the juice. The thorns of the berry bushes pricked the fabric of their long skirts. A long time ago. When they got home, the women skimmed the cream off the evening's milk. She added to the cream from the morning's milk and began to beat it all with a bundle of clean, soft twigs. Can you imagine making whipped cream and beating and beating? Beat, 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 beat. Her arm began to ache. Beat, 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 beat. 15 minutes later, she stopped. There was whipped cream. Whew, she had to work hard for that. The girl drew water from the well. She put the berries in a piece of muslin and rinsed them. Then she squashed and strained them through the muslin, getting rid of the seeds. Together, she and her mother poured sugar on the fruit and then mixed it with cream. You may lick the spoon, love. And the woman, said the woman, so the girl did. And are you allowed sometimes to lick the spoon when you and your mom or dad are making something yummy? They carried the mixture to an ice pit in the hillside. It chilled near sheets of winter ice packed with reeds and straw. So maybe you knew that a long time ago. There was no electricity to plug in a refrigerator, so they had to make a little cave to keep things cool with ice saved from winter. After the family supper of cold chicken, mushroom, ketchup, and meat pie, they spooned the blackberry fool into blue dishes and served it to father and the older brothers. Even the baby had some. I think it's kind of like cobbler, if you've ever had blackberry cobbler. Even the baby had some. And later in the kitchen, the girl licked the bowl clean. What a fine dessert. They sure worked hard for it, didn't they? A bit more than 200 years ago, outside a city called Charleston, South Carolina, a girl and her mother picked blackberries from the plantation garden. A horse-drawn wagon delivered cream from a nearby dairy. The girl beat the cream with a metal whisk made by the local blacksmith. Beat, 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 beat. Her arm began to ache. Beat, beat. 10 minutes later, whipped cream. There we go. I have something like that in my kitchen called a whisk. The girl washed the berries in the water from the well. Then she smashed them through a tin sieve with the back of a spoon, getting rid of the seeds. Together, she and her mother poured sugar on the fruit and mixed it with the cream. You may lick the spoon, child, the woman said. So the girl did, and they carried the mixture to a wooden box in the basement. It was stacked with blocks of ice lined with lead and insulated with cork. They put the bowl in. It's like they called it an ice chest to keep things cool. After waiting table at supper, where the master and his family ate turtle soup, roast turkey, corn cakes, and sweet potatoes, they spooned the blackberry fool into yellow dishes and served it. Later, the girl and her mother hid in the closet and licked the bowl clean together. What a fine dessert. A bit more than 100 years ago, in a city called Boston, Massachusetts, a girl and her mother bought 2 wooden boxes of blackberries at an open air market. There we go. When they got home, their morning's delivery of pasteurized cream was waiting at the door in pretty glass bottles. I remember being a little girl and having our milk delivered at our doorstep. The woman looked at a recipe book. She beat the cream with cast iron rotary beaters, like that. Whir, whir. 5 minutes later, whipped cream. A lot faster than by hand, right? The girl drew water from the new faucet in the kitchen. She washed the berries and smashed them through a sieve with her fingers. Her hands turned purple with the juice. Together, she and her mother poured sugar on the fruit, mixed it with the cream. "Do you want the spatula, my pet?" said the woman. "Yes, please," said the girl, and she licked it clean. They carried the blackberry fool into a wooden ice box, stocked with blocks of ice they had delivered every day. So there's their ice box. After Sunday dinner, potato soup, roast chicken, and canned asparagus on toast, they spooned the fool into green dishes and ate it together with father and younger brothers. Even the baby had some. Back in the kitchen, the girl ran her tongue along the inside of the bowl. What a fine dessert. Just a couple years ago, while you've been alive, in a city called San Diego, California, a boy and his dad brought 2 cardboard boxes of blackberries and a carton of pasteurized organic cream at the supermarket. So you could pick your own blackberries, maybe, or go to a farm where you pick, or you could buy them at the store. It is nice to have choices, isn't it? When they got home, the man printed out a recipe from the internet off his computer. The boy beat the cream with an electric mixer. I bet you have one of those. Zzz. 2 minutes later, whipped cream. It reminded the boy of shaving foam. but it tastes so much better, doesn't it? The man ran water in the sink, washed the berries in a colander. He crushed them in a food processor and pushed them through a sieve with a plastic spatula. Together, they poured sugar on the fruit and mixed it with the cream. "Can I lick the spatula?" asked the boy. "Course you can, buddy," said the man. So the boy did. They put the mixture in the refrigerator. The doorbell rang and friends surged in, bringing cartons of lemonade, grilled vegetables, enchiladas, and tomato salad. After a long, good dinner, look at all those friends in the neighborhood. Is that fun? Maybe you have special dinners with your neighborhood friends. After a long, good dinner, the man and his son spooned the blackberry fool into white dishes and served it to their guests. Everyone gobbled it up, especially the babies. After the guests went home and the boy stood in the messy kitchen licking the inside of the bowl. What a fine dessert. But the blackberry fool had been so very delicious, there wasn't much left. That's the way it is sometimes with desserts. Special treat. So at the end of this recipe, at the end of the book is this recipe for it. So maybe you could check this book out and make this yummy recipe. I bet you could make it with strawberries or raspberries too. And since all these wonderful fruits are in season, it's fun to turn them into yummy desserts. So I have another story for you and Little Mouse. But one of the things that you can make that I made this week, oops, my little marshmallows fell off, are little cookies. This is an edible cookie recipe, edible. I'm going to take one of these off for you. It's actually Play-Doh, but it's with frosting from a can and a little powdered sugar. But it's really fun. You could use cookie cutters and turn it into whatever you would like. Roll it out, make little rolls and things, make a little rose flower out of it. And you can eat it. How about that? But only a little, because you want to save it so you can play with it, because it's so soft. I'm telling you. So just an idea for a little craft time to make your own cookies that are easy to make. I even got the frosting from the Dollar Tree. So it was just $1. This next story I want to share with you is called "The Moon Might Be Milk." People through the years have imagined the moon being made of different things. Maybe the one I've heard the most is the moon being made of cheese. Wallace and Gromit say it's made of cheese, don't they? By Lisa Schulman. The moon might be made of milk. The night was almost gone and a large round moon sank into the sky. Its bright light poured through the window, waking Rosie. "Look at the moon," she said to Kat. "I wonder what it's made of." Kat stretched lazily. "The moon is a saucer full of fresh milk." He purred. "It spills from the sky into puddles on the ground." "The moon might be milk," Rosie said, "but it might not." "Then let's ask Hen," said Kat. Where's Hen? When the sun had risen, Rosie and Cat set off. They walked and they walked till they came to Hen. Hello, Hen, said Rosie. Can you tell us what the moon is made of? Cat thinks it's a saucer of milk. Milk, cackled Hen. Oh, my dear, no. The moon is an egg. Small, shining chicks hatch from it to become the stars. The moon might be an egg, said Rosie, but it might not. Then let's ask Butterfly, said Hen. So Rosie and Cat and Hen went on until they came to Butterfly. Hello, Butterfly, said Rosie. Can you tell us what the moon is made of? Cat thinks it's a saucer of milk, and Hen says it's an egg. Oh no, whispered Butterfly. The moon is made of sugar. It's sticky and sparkling and oh so sweet. The moon might be sugar, Rosie said, but it might not. Then let's ask Dog, said Butterfly. So Rosie and Cat and Hen and Butterfly went on till they came to Dog. Hello, Dog, said Rosie. Can you tell us what the moon is made of? Cat thinks it's a saucer of milk. Hen says it's an egg. And Butterfly believes it's made of sugar. The moon, said Dog with a wag of his tail, is a round pat of sweet, creamy butter. And he licked his lips with his long pink tongue. The moon might be butter, said Rosie, but it might not. Let's ask Mouse, said Dog. So Rosie and Cat and Hen and Butterfly and Dog went on. Soon they came upon Mouse scurrying into her hole. Hello, Mouse, said Rosie. Can you tell us what the moon is made of? Cat thinks it's a saucer of milk. Hen says it's an egg. Butterfly believes it's made of sugar. And Dog tells us it's a pat of butter. You're all wrong, grumbled Mouse, anxious to be on her way. The moon is made of white flour. When the wind blows, it makes great powdery clouds in the sky. The moon might be flour, Rosie said, but it might not. Well then, what do you think it is? Asked Mouse impatiently. Rosie thought for a moment. I'm not sure, she said at last, but maybe Gran will know. She ran off towards her grandmother's house with Cat and Hen and Butterfly and Dog and even grumbling Mouse close behind. They're off to Gran's house. What will she say? Gran, Rosie pushed open the kitchen door. Your grandmother's not here, but a bit of the moon is, said Dog. See how the moon shines, said Butterfly. How white it is, purred Cat, and so smooth, Hen clucked approvingly. Mouse nibbled a hole in the flour sack. Ah, moon clouds, just like I told you, she said proudly. Just then, Rosie's grandmother came in. Rosie, she said, what a surprise. And what is all this? I guess it's the moon, Rosie answered. The moon? Gran, said Rosie, I've been looking all day for someone who can tell me what the moon is made of. What have you learned? Gran set a bowl on the table. Mouse thinks the moon is made of flour. It is flour, Mouse said importantly. Perhaps it is, said Gran, measuring flour into the bowl. And Dog tells me the moon is part butter. A pat of butter, Rosie continued. That's right, said Dog. It's possible, Gran said as she put butter into another bowl. But Butterfly believes the moon is made of sugar, said Rosie. Well, she could be right, Gran said as she mixed sugar with the butter. And Hen said the moon's an egg, and Cat thinks it's milk. It might be an egg, said Gran, cracking an egg into the butter and sugar. But then again, it might be milk. She added milk to the bowl and stirred in the flour. What do you think is happening? Rosie watched with excitement as Gran dropped rounded spoonfuls of the dough onto a baking sheet, flattened them, and sprinkled them with sugar. As her grandmother slid the tray into the oven, Rosie burst out, Gran, I know what you're making. Gran smiled as the kitchen began to fill with the sweet scent of baking. Flour, butter, sugar, egg, and milk, Rosie said, ticking off the ingredients on her fingers. Gran, you've made the moon. The moon, cried the animals. Gran opened the oven door and pulled out a tray of sparkling moon-shaped cookies. Gran passed them around while Rosie poured tea. So the moon is made of milk, purred Cat. And eggs, said Hen. And sugar, whispered Butterfly. And butter, said the dog. Well, I was right too, said Mouse, nibbling at her cookie. The moon is made of flour. Rosie, what do you think? Asked Gran. Rosie took a bite of her warm cookie and brushed the crumbs from her mouth. I think the moon is a great big sugar cookie in the night sky, she said at last. The animals nodded in agreement. Rosie took another bite and looked out the window. The sun's rays were spreading over the hills like melting butter. Look at the sun, Rosie said. I wonder what it's made of. And there we go. And there is another recipe. Gran's Sugar Cookie Moons. There we go. 2 books about baking yummy things like cookies and cobbler. So I hope you have a lovely day. Summer is so much fun. It's my favorite. I hope you have a great day playing with your friends and family, and come into the library. We still are giving away prizes for our summer reading program. And we have story time in person tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Thursday. Take care.